Hello Unmatched fans, and welcome to a Toasty guide to Unmatched custom fighters. Yes, in this series I will be teaching you how to make your own physical custom Unmatched fighters in as much detail as I can, including the miniatures, the cards, the health dials, the tokens, a box, and even the maps. Yes, we will be learning all of these in this series. Starting off with episode 1, the miniature. Yeah, starting off with our cheapest and easiest option here is you can just grab some miniatures from D&D or other tabletop games. This one here I got on Amazon for the Grizzly and the Lemmings deck. You can check that out if you'd like. And yeah, it's as simple as that. Just search DnD Mini and you can find some, some miniatures here that are perfect for most decks. If you don't really care too much about how the looks, you just want some type of cool miniature that at least has a round base on the bottom. A D&D Mini is perfect, or from other games that have miniatures just like this. But the main thing you're going to be looking for is 34mm here. That will get you a basically mostly close size here when it comes to the actual miniature. And we can quickly pull in Arthur here. And you can see on board, not too crazy of a difference. Obviously, the wash is not on there. That's something that you can do yourself there. And the actual base itself is quite a bit bigger, as well as not having this color border around the edge here, the color base. So yeah, definitely a cheap and easy option. And I also did want to pull in, you can also grab pieces from other games here. Here is a king from chess in the chess deck that I reviewed. As simple as that, just grab a pawn from, or sorry, a king piece from chess, and there you go. You have a miniature for your deck. And that is the nice and easy, simple, steal it from another game. So the second option here is Etsy, and they have a few items here. As you can see, here's a couple listings that I found, and we can quickly take a look there. Most of these are going to be proxies for decks that already exist, or that are quite expensive, like Bruce Lee and Deadpool here. Here are those Etsy links, and once again, everything will be linked in the description there, but got these both from Etsy, and they also had the Mandalorian here. He is the top rated deck for when it comes to custom decks, so it made sense that these three are available on Etsy, but there's not any more options. That is one of the biggest downside from ordering these custom miniatures from Etsy, is I could really only find these three options. There's also the Jekyll miniature here, but that's about all you're gonna get. There's not really anything else here. They did a pretty good job. One thing you can tell is they do have the colored base, so that is a lot nicer than what we saw from the first option there, but it's not quite the right size here. So if we bring in the Sherlock Holmes here, you can see that it is just slightly taller there. It is just slightly thicker in basically every dimension for whatever reason. And then also you can see that they're slightly too big, slightly too tall. And then they also printed in this quite light gray color, so it doesn't quite match exactly with regular Unmatched, and it definitely stands out when it is next to an official fighter. But by itself, it definitely looks good. So if you're looking for a quick and easy, simple option, Etsy is a way to go. We can also quickly bring in the official Deadpool miniature to compare here, and you can see just slightly too tall, slightly too big, and the bases themselves just don't match up quite correctly. But definitely a good option for these three specific fighters from Etsy. And now we get into my bigger, more actual recommendations when it comes to getting these miniatures for your decks. TheMeepleSmith. Here is their website here, guys. They have tons and tons of options when it comes to getting these miniatures for Unmatched, and they are constantly updating with new figures. So we can quickly pull those out here. Here is another Bruce Lee, and you can see that they got way closer when it comes to looking like an official fighter. We can pull in the actual Bruce Lee here, and the scale is pretty spot on. The bases are the exact same size, exact same thickness. The biggest difference that you're gonna tell, as we saw from the earlier ones, is the actual material that they print out is slightly lighter, and they don't do that dark wash on it. And then on the base, I do want to point out that the bottom has a slightly bigger hole, and then you can see that they printed out of, I believe, PLA, so it is that 3D printed material, and you can see the lines. On the actual miniatures, you can't really see any lines. They do a great detailed print on these, but on the bases, you can definitely see the lineage, and you can actually feel it as well. So I did want to point that out just so people are fully aware, but you can see that the scale is perfect. So if you don't have the actual Bruce Lee and you want to use the proxy deck, this one comes super handy, and I love that they gave him the nunchucks there to a reference to his card. But We can also pull out a Deadpool miniature here, so we can compare again him to the original. And the scale is pretty good. Once again, he is crouched down, but I love the pose that they gave him. But we can quickly take a look again and see that the middle is slightly too big compared to the official ones if we bring Deadpool back in here. And then the actual print lines you can definitely see. But yeah, so the MeepleSmith has tons and tons of options when it comes to the miniatures here. Lots of IP stuff, lots of folklore and stuff. And we can bring in here, here's Indiana Jones as one of the options here. Once again, seeing those print lines on the base, if I'm just being super picky and being super honest with you guys here. But the actual prints, the actual sculpts are perfect. I mean, if we pull in an official fighter here with Tesla, I mean, if these two are on the board, I mean, besides the actual dark wash on them, I mean, it's like for an unseasoned veteran, when it comes to Unmatched, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. They're going to think this is an official fighter. Definitely a great, great option. And you can search up just hundreds and hundreds of options that they have here. I also wanted to pull out this cult leader. I love the details. You can see that inside the hood there, the kind of like necklace we got going on there, all the little tentacles, just to show off all of the details that these guys do. I mean, the MeepleSmith is fantastic when it comes to printing. My biggest main gripe is that the hole in the bottom is too big, and then the print lines are pretty substantial on the bases. But once again, if you're staring at the bases, then maybe you're not focusing on the game. But yes, on all of these guys, I did point out that the biggest flaw besides the base here is that the dark wash does not match. They're just slightly too light. But you can easily just give these guys a quick dark wash and then also a dry brush with that same gray paint, and you will get something like this. I mean, yes, look at how much the detail spikes. This is also from the MeepleSmith. You can see that same line layers I was saying in the base there, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Here is the werewolf. All of the decks for all of these fighters will be linked in the description. There's the werewolf. And I also wanted to pull out Doom Guy here and all the little details that you can see in his armor on the signets on the blade here. Looks absolutely fantastic. And then also I wanted to bring up Master Chief here, and you can see once you get that dark wash on there, I mean, it looks way more close to the actual official fighters. I mean, now if we put them far enough away, yeah, these guys look like they're from the exact same game. The scale is perfect. The size of the bases are great. The colors, everything. And yeah, as simple as a dark wash, and you'll get these guys basically official. The only thing I like to always point out, once again, the third time here, is that the base is slightly different. And you can't really just swap them out because the base is a different size than the official fighters. It's just because the inner part of it in there. So they actually fall out quite easily. And one thing I will say, they've gotten better and better at this, but sometimes their bases are kind of not always a uniform scale. So if we brought Doom Guy back here, we can compare him with Spike, that these bases are the exact same size as the official Unmatched bases. But with the werewolf here, for whatever reason, it is huge. Yes, no fighter in Unmatched has this big of a base. It kind of covers up the actual color of the space that you're in a little too much. But if you're willing to overlook that, I mean, look at the sculpts, guys. Absolutely fantastic there. And not only do they have all of these fighters here, but you can also replace your sidekick tokens with miniatures. Yes, they have most of these sidekicks as physical miniatures here. I actually did one of my first videos showcasing these guys, and once you add a little dark wash on there, they will look absolutely fantastic. And then they also have miniatures for the minions from the adventures. We're actually getting the physical miniatures for Team NT, but for the Tales to Amaze, you can get these hexagonal miniatures to replace your minion tokens. Looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, and the last and best, but also most complicated option here is 3D printing. But yes, don't click off just yet, guys. If you do not own a 3D printer or you have zero experience in 3D printing, I'm gonna walk you through it. You don't have to have any experience. It definitely will help, but it's nice and easy, guys. So yes, with 3D printing, you will get something like this. We can see Waluigi here, as well as Chewbacca. Yes, this option is amazing because you're gonna get the closest to the actual official sizing here. We can bring in Bullseye to compare. The sizing is perfect. The size of the base, the hole in the bottom, everything is perfect when it comes to sizing because you can tweak it and make it exactly as it needs to be with the flexibility of 3D printing. And also with the flexibility, you can also make any character. I mean, here we have Waluigi, not something you're going to find anywhere else or even on the MeepleSmith, as well as Chewbacca here. So any deck you have, you can just make the miniature here. But the one thing you might already notice, which I point out with the other options, is not only is the material incorrect, but the base is also incorrect. So I just really wanted to quickly show you these two here, which I have printed off, but I have not prepped yet. So this is what they will look like straight from the printers. And we can quickly pause, and I want to show you here, there are quite a few options. So if you do not have your own 3D printer, this website here, Craft Cloud, is perfect. Here are these settings that I use, the material as well as all these different settings that we're scrolling through here. That's all you got to do. You upload the file, you choose the material you want, you choose the setting, and then you send it off, and they ship it to you just like this. So this one, not specifically, I got from a 3D printer, but I can quickly bring out one. If we bring in a little bit of spoiler for the paint job, but here is Soundwave, a transformer, one I got from a print shop. Yes, he costs like $1, $2. All I do is send them the files, and they're good to go. And I will also show you how to prep those files in just a moment. But if we can bring Chewbacca back in here, I can show you what he looks like after you have given him a dark wash and a nice dry paint there. And we can bring back in Bullseye to see how they compare. And you can see the colors are now absolutely perfect. Obviously a little bit more detail with the dark wash because you did it by hand instead of factory made, but it looks perfect. And the only thing that we are missing is that colored base. So I want to bring in one of my absolute favorite fighters that I have not reviewed yet, but this is Adam from Real Steel. So yes, after you have given him the dark wash, you have done the dry brush and then also painted the base. I mean, this looks official, guys. Obviously you're getting a little bit of that, you know, imperfections from the hand paint job or anything like that. But guys, when those two are on the table, no one's going to be able to tell that this guy is unofficial. So yes, 3D printing is going to be your best option here. So yeah, I'm going to quickly walk you through a couple of your options. If you already know 3D printing, you can skip this part. You're already going to know everything. But for those who do not own a 3D printer, don't plan on buying one, and want to make this for yourself with just a couple of clicks on the computer, I'm going to send you a couple of files. There's two websites I recommend checking out. The first one is Tinkercad here, a free 3D modeling program, as well as SelfCAD here. Tinkercad's a little bit easier, but a little more limiting. SelfCAD is a little bit harder, but it has way more options. So I definitely recommend SelfCAD over Tinkercad, but both options are great. And then in both of these programs here, I will have a link in the description to the base files. So this fighter base, you just plonk that down. It's already sized perfectly to match the official Unmatched, as well as the fighter base, the color border that you can add on there. I also have that in the description. And then you can just add in any 3D model from the internet. Not all of them will work perfectly when it comes to printing, but as long as it's STL or it says, you know, for 3D printing, you're going to be set off good for the most part. But you're just going to drag that off and you're going to size it correctly to whatever size works best for you. On average, most of the fighters in Unmatched are going to be 38 millimeters tall, so you kind of want to size around there unless they're a little bit taller or a little bit shorter of a character. But yeah, you just drag them on there, you put them together, you make sure you either export them as one big file or you merge them together, and then you are set. Those files, you just send that to the Craft Cloud website or any other 3D printing website that you find that works better for you, and then you will get these Unmatched fighters for yourself. Nice and easy, guys. All the links are in the description. That's right, we are not done yet. There are large fighters in Unmatched. Obviously, we only have the T-Rex right now. But so far, as much as I can find, there is no website that is making custom large fighters. So you will have to go the 3D printing route again, but as you saw from the last clip, it's fairly easy. It just takes a little bit of learning, and then you get the absolute, you know, amazing outcome that 3D printing can have. Just a little bit of help with painting, and you can saw a little bit earlier in the video how simple it is to paint as well. So we can put T-Rex back here, and I want to show you what they look like when they first come back here. Here is the Barong here, one that I have printed, but I have not painted yet. So you can see they come out just like this. Once again, the bases here are the exact same size, so they will work just like the T-Rex is when it comes from moving across spaces. We can also bring in a normal sized fighter with Ellie Sattler here. And you can see it came out perfect. I mean, once again, perfect to use in physical Unmatched. But obviously, if you do that dark wash, you do that dry paint, just like you did with the other fighters, and you're gonna get something that kind of looks like this. Here is the Yule Cat. Yes, one of my favorite large fighters, one of the early ones that I printed. The bottom is just flat instead of having that kind of indentation that the T-Rex has. But I love how this turned out. I mean, the details, and it looks, you know, have both these guys on the board, obviously slightly darker when it comes to the actual gray tones, but I mean, as close to official as I will be happy with. This looks fantastic. Definitely does not look just like thrown together. This looks like something you could buy. And I wanted to pull out some other ones here because the Yule Cat is on the tinier side. We also have Moose, one of my favorite large fighters. You can put him also off to the side. But a nice big large fighter that can contest with the T-Rex is a freaking car. Yes, this is Christine, an amazing deck by Jack North, and he actually sent me the model for this. So I'll leave that in the description just in case you guys want it as well. But yes, you can now drive a car into the T-Rex, and we can also quickly pull in a regular sized fighter in the middle there. But yes, you can also do large fighters. And just like the quick tutorial from the regular 3D printing, it's the exact same thing, either Tinkercad or with SelfCAD here. You also just use the large fighter base. Once again, all these files will be in the description, as well as a couple like quick synopsises of everything. But yeah, you just drag and drop your 3D model. Once again, make sure it's trying to be like an STL or a file that's already prepped to be 3D printed, so there's no holes in the middle. But you just drag it on there, you resize it to what you think works best for you, and then you export it and you send it off to a printer. Or if you have your own 3D printer, you print it off yourself. And now we can go on to my final thoughts. And there you go. It's as simple as that, guys. You can make all of your custom fighters have close to official miniatures in all of the different options that I gave you today. I'm going to try to keep this video as updated and as helpful as I can. So if there's parts that were confusing, please check the comments. Hopefully I can answer all of your comments. I will try to update the description as much as I can with newer links or new information. And yeah, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I'd love to help you get your collection looking as great as you can. I gotta go. My toast is burning.